Hey there. So this video has probably been a long time coming. I get asked all the time, how did you replace two six-figure incomes with passive real estate investing? The answer is, it takes time. We are actually going to kind of focus this particular presentation to kind of mirror the book, right? The book's called One Rental at a Time, available on Amazon. But I wanted to kind of, break it down into a little more crux and talk about the four phases, the timelines, cash flow, all of that. Um, Again, it's our story. It's kind of the rough numbers and what it all means. And I thought I would take the time to share with you on this Friday. So it would be something you could enjoy today and through the weekend. Let me know what you think. Again, I'm trying to run a test with YouTube. I'm new to all this YouTube, Facebook stuff. I never had a social media account until I retired. Go figure. But do me a favor. This particular video should be impactful. I believe lots of people want to replace their day job, right? They want to replace their income. So do me a favor. Share this video now or at the end. If you want to wait and see how it goes, share it at the end. It doesn't matter. But what I would ask you to do is let's share this video and see if we can't get this one spun up. I'm trying to understand how all this YouTube analytics work and how people watch and all of that stuff. So I'm giving you everything I have here, and hopefully you see it's valuable. But if you could help me out just a little bit, please share the video. I would like to see if we can't, if this one doesn't, see 50 or 60 shares. So let's get started. So what I'm gonna do is again, sort of, remind you that this buy and hold thing is not sexy. You often get made fun of as, hey, you're the tenants, termites, toilets, guy, trouble, whatever you want to call it. And it's certainly not sexy, right? $100 to $300 a month cash flow. 8 months out of 12, it's not sexy, right? Because you had something break or whatever. But we're not in the sexy business, right? We're in the business of replacing our income, and that's done one brick at a time, one rental at a time, hence the name of the book in this channel. But again, it's, sometimes you need more belief. You want to believe that this investment in time is worth it. I tell you all the time to think in decades, and we're going to break down this 15 or 16-year journey into 4 different sections and talk about that. Life-changing wealth, legacy, whatever you want to call that, 7-figure net worth, multi-7-figure net worth, doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen with lots of taxes either. This whole chunk money, wholesaling, flipping, you can make 7 figures doing it, but first you write a $500,000 check to the IRS. I'm sure that's not fun. And hopefully you have the money, you haven't blown it and get, put in jail for not paying your taxes. Buy and hold, very tax efficient. 1031 exchanges, very tax efficient. Just writing out, depreciation, write-offs. It's just an awesome business if you think in decades. Please think in decades as a buy and hold investor. Also be conservatively financed so you can get through any uptick or downtick in the market. I'm going to give you the timeline as best I can and as close to the raw numbers as they are without getting too specific into our business, but we'll give you some rough numbers. And again, over 4 different sections. And again, I'm going to give you what I have in 4 different slides. So 4 sections, 1 slide. If you want more details, buy the book. The book's 80 or 85 pages of the book are exactly what this 15-year journey is. And we broke it down and we went through the ins and outs, what worked, what didn't work. You're not going to get nearly as much in this PowerPoint as that's in the book. The book has it all. And hopefully as you go to Amazon and you look it up, One Rental at a Time, or you look up Michael Zuber, you'll see that the 5-star reviews are awesome. Take a look at them. I read them all the time, frankly. They just make me feel good, like the 8-month investment was worth it. So let's get started, right? This first 6 years. So you got to remember, passive income starts really slow, right? This first 6 years was not, I don't know, I guess it was interesting, but it didn't really feel like much, right? 6 years, right? Almost half our time. But when you look back on it, you need to realize that time is your friend. Right? When you're thinking in decades, as I'll save the punchline for the end, but when you think in decades, other good stuff happened that you just don't realize in the beginning. We ended our first year with 7 properties, 8 units. So we had 6 single-family homes in a duplex, hence 7 properties, 8 units. Our passive income was around $1,500, right? Plus or minus a little bit. It varied every month, but that would be the average. So again, you know, not, I guess it's interesting. It proved the model works when you conservatively finance, but we weren't going to retire on that for sure. And that's after 6 years, if you can believe it or not. But, we at the end of that 6-year period, we couldn't buy anymore. Prices had just gone nuts, and nothing made financial sense. And we weren't going to buy an eighth property and actually have negative cash flow, right? The thing I call an alligator that's written in the book. But what we did appreciate is the market cycles are real. What we needed to realize is while one part of the market is overpriced, it probably means another part of the market is underpriced. And again, you'll get a lot more of that details in the book. In addition, there are ways in this business when something's overpriced, you can let the IRS help you. Again, it's in the book. It's called a 1031 exchange. And this is essentially something we leveraged and we'll talk about in the next phase. But as you can see, day 1, year 0, whatever you want to call that, we had nothing. And at the end of 6 years, we had about 1,500. And again, 6 years is almost half our 15-year journey, and we're really nowhere. But again, we've started. We're about to do some things that are interesting. So year 6 through 8, right? The top, right? The peak of the market. The market's changed. Passive income is not yet life-changing, right? We're sitting on $1,500 a month, and we're like, God, this has been hard work, right? I don't know what we're doing. This is going to take forever to get there. But again, residential prices are just ridiculously high, and the rents are not changing. That first property we had rented for $1,100. It increased 150 grand roughly, and it's still rented for $1,100. Right? That doesn't make sense. We needed to find something different, right? We needed to find a new market. We needed to look for a new city, or we needed to look for a new property type. That's where we decided to stay in the same market, Fresno, but we found a different part of the market. We found commercial financing for 5 to 20 unit buildings. In addition, we found a way to let the IRS help us, and that's called the 1031 exchange, written about a bunch in the book. That allowed us to do some exchanges from 8 units, right, 6 houses in a duplex, into 80 units. We did some 1031 exchanges into 5s, 10s, 13, 18, 7s properties. And the beauty of this is it was no new capital, right? We significantly increased our rents. We significantly increased our asset base. We increased our depreciation write-off. We exploded our total rents. And as you'll see, we exploded our cash flow, all because we let the IRS and we changed markets and we got out of what was hot and got into what was not. So from year 6 to 8, a little more interesting. We put no new capital to work. This was all 1031 exchanges. And we went from roughly $1,500 a month with houses to over $7,000 with apartments. Right? At the end of at the end of year 8, we had no houses. It was all multifamily. Right? Now things are getting interesting. Right? $7,500 is interesting. But we're not done. Then there was the crash, year 8 through 11 for us. Right? The real estate depression starts. Deals are frankly everywhere and getting better by the week as price drops and inventory is just piling up. It was really a weird time. Buyers disappear. I remember thinking, oh my God, there is stuff being sold for land value and they're on the MLS and nobody's buying. Unfortunately, lending turned off. Right? We had 80 doors, cash flow, income, never missed a payment, and whoops, we can't borrow from banks anymore. The banks have shut the front door. Don't let us talk to them anymore. Again, this is all written about in the book. One Rental at a Time is a book you have to buy if you're interested in this business. We needed to find a new way to keep buying because deals were everywhere. So first thing we did is we found something we'd never heard of before, hard money, again, talked about in the book. We then sort of flipped the script because hard money is expensive, right? It was 60% of purchase, a couple of points, high interest rate. We ended up finding private money, right? People were hearing our story and willing to lend us money. And we paid double digit for the private money back then, right? We paid 10%. So what we did through those 3 years is we kept on buying, right? Real estate gold rush or depression, nobody was around. So we put a lot of money to work, but most of it was recycled, right? I think we used about $100,000 to just keep recycling it. Basically we put a private money in, bought private money. So we kept turning our money over and over and over and over again. So we went from about 7,500 to over 14 during the real estate crash. So now real estate's returning, right? The bottom's put in. Hedge funds, deep pockets, they come in and change the market overnight. I remember it was literally overnight. I remember looking one day at the MLS and going, okay, I'm going to make 5 or 6 offers. And the next day, everything was gone. They just basically bought everything they could sight unseen. Things never made the MLS. It was really a weird time. But multifamilies bought at the peak started to show stress. So what do I mean here? Hedge funds were buying houses. So again, we let the market cycle tell us where to go. And again, the interesting thing about commercial financing or apartments is they have financing that resets at 5 or 7 or sometimes 10 years. So while single families crashed first, apartments crashed also. So we bought a lot of bank foreclosures from apartments with 0 down. We added probably 40 or 50 doors from banks who took back apartments with 0% down or 0 down in like 5 or 6% interest, depending on which property it was. Right? The banks are not in the business of running apartments, especially apartments that are trashed. Right? All the apartments we bought with 0 down, we had to put about 50 or 60 grand into repairs at least, if not more. But again, 0 down for an apartment building. Yes, we've done several. Nothing on the market anymore as they were sold, as everything was sold before hitting the MLS, right? Because again, the hedge funds were buying single family homes, literally sight unseen. We needed to find a new way to keep buying, right? Other than apartments. So we went out to wholesalers, Bird Dog, in our agents network to try to get in front of listings and pocket listings and all of that. In addition, we started looking for owner financing. This was a big part of the last couple of years, and is adding some units via owner financing. And in fact, we're going down this weekend to look at a 15-unit package that we look to keep long term. So in every market, there's a chance to do something. So in this case, years 11 through 15, we went from 14 to, it doesn't matter what it is, right? We're financially free now. It's significantly more than 20, but it just at some point it just sounds like bragging, and I don't want to do that. But now it's over. It is where we are. We're financially free. We're retired. We're giving back via YouTube. We wrote a book to try to help you. But this is just how it happens, right? It started really slow. Remember those first 6 years only got to 1,500? We weren't certain, but when you think in decades, in this case it was a decade and a half, it can absolutely be meaningful. So the other things that happen that you just don't notice. Rents are up 30 to 50% in this time frame. So think about that, right? If you had 10 rentals at $1,000 each and they went up 50%. Now instead of making 10 grand, they're making 15 grand. And most of that rent increase is profit, right? You pay a little bit more in property management, maybe some other expenses went up, but most of that you keep as profit. So when you hold for the long term as a landlord and your rents go up, all that rent increase is gravy because you should be putting on conservative fixed rate debt if you follow my model. Values have increased. It's hard to do this because you buy properties at different time, but when you look at a blended average over 15 years, our values have increased 50% or more, right? Think about that. Talk about legacy wealth and long-term wealth. This is how you do it, people. You have to buy and think decades, right? Again, real wealth in real estate is created in decades. You need to think decades. Don't believe the hype of the wholesaler or flipper throwing 60 grand on the table and go, "Wows, look at me." They lose half that to taxes. They have to keep running on the treadmill to keep going, and eventually they're going to burn out. But you don't burn out being a part-time landlord, right, and paying somebody else to do property management. Life is good. Also, if rents go up, just ask yourself what that means. And guess what? Rents went up 30% the last 10 or 15 years. They'll probably go up 30% the next 10 or 15 years. Isn't that awesome? Market changes, and so should you. So hopefully you've seen just in this quick 4 slides how markets changed and our buying changed. But read the book. Buy the book. It talks about all the different market changes and what happens and what you need to look for. We wrote about a full real estate cycle, the ups, the downs, and the return. I promise you this book will be relevant for years and decades to come because real estate runs in cycles and you need to be changing what you're doing on the cycles. I believe working full-time is awesome, right? Do what you do well, grind, be the best you can be, and buy real estate rentals for long-term wealth that changes your financial future. This is absolutely possible for everyone. So again, hopefully it's clear, right? Hopefully this slide made sense to you and it's seen as valuable, but please go buy the book because I can only touch on a little bit in a slide where the book captures everything. So again, one rental at a time. This is what it looks like. You can search by the title or my name and it will come right up. And again, if you could do me a favor and send a selfie, I would love it. I use those as little small marketing pieces. And of course, after you read it, a 5-star review from you would be the world to me, because as a self-published author, it's those 5-star reviews that make a difference in the Amazon algorithm. So please help me out. So again, right, through the end of the years, we're again, it's over 20. We don't need to talk about what it is because it's not relevant to you. But the idea is this all started with that first step, that first house on Norris Drive. And it's, again, thinking in decades. So if you want to follow me, I post daily on this YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I do have a Twitter handle, which I've just spun up called One Rental at a Time here. Please buy the book. Those selfies mean the world to me. I love seeing your smiling faces. And some of you are so creative where you take them. It's awesome. Some people take them on Caribbean beaches, some on cruise lines. It's been awesome. And of course, that 5-star review would mean the world to me. And again, there's the book. So in the end, I will want to go back to the first slide and ask you, if you like this video, please share it. I'm new to YouTube. I'm trying to figure all this out. I'm not a social media maven. If you can, hit share several times. Share it on different media channels. I want to see what happens when a video is shared by lots of people. I hope to look back in a couple of days and see this has been shared at least 50 times, just to see what the impact is. Because again, I don't understand YouTube analytics, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to give you value, and I'm trying to figure out how this whole system works. All right, have a great day.